Nigeria kills, and it kills with brutal efficiency. It doesn't just kill persons. That's routine for Nigeria. But Nigeria kills dreams, it kills visions, it kills hope. It drains the fighter of every resolve to fight a system that would appear to be relentless in its capacity to kill. Nigeria kills, and it's consumed a lot of men who have tried to solve the Nigerian problem. So it is important that we ask ourselves, what are the problems, or who are the problems? And it brings to mind the Yoruba proverb. It says, Ajala, Tanoe, a question to Ajala, who whipped you? And Ajala turned to the person asking the question. Shilbe, no, isn't it you? So the Nigerian problem, when we ask what the problems are, I believe that we should look in the mirror both to find the problem and to find the solutions. And I think sometimes to even identify the problems, we do need some deep introspections and self-identification as well. Because we have both the problems and the solution to the problems. In the southwestern part of Nigeria, insecurity flows from different fountains. In Lagos, it flows from the criminal capture of the state. Don't worry, it's not unique to Lagos. Lagos is not the only state that has been criminally captured. But actually, it goes beyond that. The boys who used to pickpocket in Lagos back in the days now work for the union, or they work for Team Lagos, or they work for one of the many criminal gangs that are required to enforce the political will of those who have captured the state. Now, if you go to the southeast, you have unknown gunmen, unknown men, you have the regular IPOP, you have EPA, you have all kinds of criminals. But when you look deep, you find very quickly that the key reason that these things are there are about the unaddressed grievances of those who seek citizenship but have been denied the right of citizenship. Their rebellion, rightful rebellion, sometimes overtaken by criminals or criminality, and then you find copycats. Some of these were people licensed originally by politicians who were playing grievance politics in order to legalize their own powers, which were never exercised for the people. I'm speaking generally and in broad terms, and local variations might be there. But the key thing that you must understand about the violence and criminality in the Southeast is that it has its root in unresolved grievances. It has its roots in licensed militia by politicians who are seeking to control the street and thereby control the ballot and to control state power. Opuzodinma in Imo State. It's not by accident that you've got a person sat in the office of the governor who came fourth in an election, and by some judicial abracadabra is there. So now tell me, how easy would it have been to evict him from that office if the state was to be at peace? Of course, the oil story tells its own story. The fact that the Nigerian state is essentially a licensee, or is it a licensor? By the end of the day, the Nigerian government cannot operate in the Niger Delta without the license of the militias. You see these happening with the fact that it has taken a Tompolo to provide security for pipelines in the Niger Delta. This in a country that is blessed with a navy, that has police, with an army, air force, and yet, in the midst of all this, oil is being stolen. Who is fooling who? So, if there was security, if there was peace in the South-South, wouldn't there be accountability? You betcha there will be. But how much easier is it to continue to steal the people blind, license impunity of the worst form, whilst pretending to deal with having millions in IDP camps than to provide security to the people? Fulani militia from all over the Sahel, roaming around with AK-47, heavily armed, and we call it farmer headers clash. What clash? It's genocide. Call it what it is. So when we talk about insecurity, jump up to the northwest and the northeast, and actually a whole lot of the middle belt as well, is about mineral resources, gold, all kind of precious stones. Criminal gangs licensed by the state. We are deliberately pretending not to see what we are seeing, because if we are admitting to what we are seeing, then we know that the bandits are not spirits, armed robbers are not spirits, terrorists are not spirits. The fact that our government is colluding is no longer a secret. The fact that our state is almost completely compromised because of the inability of the law to rule in any sphere of our national life is also no longer exactly a secret. The next thing is ignorance. Hunger is real. I'm not talking about hunger on account of poverty. It used to be that however poor you are, you could still eat, but this is different. This is hunger that is deeper and much worse than poverty. This is hunger that makes a man eat grass, corn husk. Yeah, that level of hunger, bordering on starvation. It wouldn't be too long before we start seeing United Nations rations to keep people from having kwashiorkor at the rate that we are going. The country has suffered a complete collapse of its infrastructure, healthcare, education, our roads, the electricity. The Nigerian electric grid, national grid, has collapsed more times, I dare to say, than even Bulaba. Bulaba has collapsed only once. National grid in the last year must have collapsed at least about 10 times. Instead of complaining about the collapsing grid, they're busy laughing and driving memes about Bulaba's collapse. A state whose institutions have been hijacked by criminals can no longer be saved by its own mechanisms. The judiciary is demonstrably captured. It has given more than enough evidence of its incapacity to be the last hope of the common man. That is clear. The police is as complicit as any one of us. The army is already compromised beyond. Once upon a time, it pretended to be the institution that could save Nigeria from itself. But frankly, has that institution saved itself from itself? So which one of them? Where is the state organ to which we might appeal for our country to be saved? The reality is that it's all gone. It is all gone. Day before yesterday, I went to Facebook, and as I went to my page, as I got to Facebook, I saw the usual thing, what's on your mind? And I realized that the only thing on my mind is how to bring about a peaceful revolution in Nigeria. I am being careful to explain this to all of us. Nigeria is already in the grip of a violent cycle superintended by the government against the Nigerian people. It is almost as if those governing Nigeria, pyromaniacs, are interested in the country burning down so that they might reinvent it in order to avoid rendering account for their stealing and for their crimes against the Nigerian people. With each successive ruiner of Nigeria, the evil becomes even more widespread and egregious, and nobody is held accountable for the previous one. 16 years, PDP assailed this country, stole and stole and stole, and after 16 years, on the back of a fraudulent agenda for change that they never explained to the people, and that all of you idiots demanding that I offer you solution today did not listen when I was warning you. Do not die in their war. These people, nothing will change. They will change nothing. It's the same people. Even the ones that call themselves the most conscious layers were fooled. That one came, he committed worse crimes than the PDP. He couldn't catch a single one of the PDP thieves because all the PDP thieves came into the APC to join the crooks that were already in the APC, and you were hearing it loud and clear. Oshio Omole told you, join us and your sins are forgiven. So they joined the APC. None of the thieves could be held responsible. Akpabio became a minister in the cabinet of your saint. And then when the saint left and brought this disaster, Akpabio became the Senate president. In the chambers of your country, they are singing on your mandate we shall stand. The national anthem was changed within days, maybe like 72 hours or thereabout. National minimum wage, up until today, no implementation, but fuel is over 1,000. How do you expect anything to change with this kind of people in power? I have had a lot of people coming to me to say, how can you have a peaceful revolution? The character of the revolution you seek is in your hand, and you have a duty to outline it. It is intellectual indolence of the worst form that will lead you to believe that when we talk about revolution, it must necessarily be violent. No. I have no control over what the state will do, and you already know that the state will always be violent. But if you believe that there is a need for Nigeria to turn around, this is a time when you need to be exploring non-violent options that makes it impossible for the state to visit violence on you. What happens to sit-at-homes? What happened to industrial strikes? If we all agreed that we have a need to change where we are, if we all agreed that on a particular day would sit at home for 1 week, if we all agree that there is a need for that, if we all agree that we must do something about our pathetic situation, why is it so difficult? The state is always violent. You come out on the street. That's why it always seems as if I'm speaking against protests. I have never spoken against it. I'm just pointing out the folly of protests. You can count on the police to come out and start shooting. You can count on elements of the army to be persuaded to go onto the street to kill people like they did at Lekki Tollgate. You can count on them. There are murderous elements within the state, and they have non-state actors that they can always activate. But if you sat in your home, who is going to come and shoot you? What happened to the NLC? Are their members buying from different markets? Even the former BAT idiots, by now they should be receiving sense. Aren't we all buying from the same market? Are we asking for something for anyone different from what we are demanding for ourselves? It's about finding the common purpose. It's not partisan. This is not about Peter Obi. It's not about Bulaba. It's not about Atiku. It's about our country, the future of this country, the future of our children. Must we wait until the whole country goes up in smoke before we realize that we are the ones who have to come to our own aid? So yes, there are solutions. Solutions are not common. They are not usual. Those solutions demand that we use our brain. It demands that we should cooperate together as one. It demands that we should look to the next person and understand that the issues that are afflicting us are the exact same that are afflicting them. It demands that we should find common purpose. It demands that we should educate ourselves. It demands that we should come off social media, we should talk to people that we find on the street. It demands that the conscious must awaken those who are still unconscious or sleeping. It demands that we should confront ourselves with the truth, but it is not impossible. Never tell me again that non-violent protest or non-violent revolution is impossible in Nigeria. It is very possible. Stop defeating yourself. It is not beyond our intellectual capacity as human beings. We can do it. We've done it before.